the power of cryptography, right, makes it exponentially more difficult to break the rule or to corrupt the system than to enforce the rule. And, the power of SHA-256 hashing makes it exponentially more expensive to interrupt the network than to engage with the network, the way it was built. And because the protocol is conservative, it's exponentially harder for someone to store their money in a different asset or for a different asset to compete. Eventually, all the other assets go to zero against Bitcoin because they're not conservative.
Bitcoin's market capitalization experienced a 50% increase on Monday following news of BlackRock, the world's largest asset management firm, filing for a new Bitcoin exchange-traded fund set to launch on Thursday. Additionally, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust saw a 12% surge upon the emergence of the BlackRock news. While Bitcoin has had a busy spring, recovering from the market collapse earlier this year and gaining popularity, the overall cryptocurrency market has faced a downturn due to recent actions by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission against major exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. Despite the positive momentum for Bitcoin, it is important to note that it is still far from its all-time high of $68,789 reached on November 10, 2021. The news of BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF has reignited hopes for the approval of a Bitcoin ETF. However, amidst this discussion, Michael Saylor addresses the role of Bitcoin in reducing volatility and provides insights into securely holding Bitcoin. He emphasizes that the most trustworthy custodian for one's Bitcoin is oneself. In summary, Bitcoin experienced a significant increase in market capitalization following the announcement of BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. However, despite this positive development, Bitcoin has not yet reached its previous all-time high. Michael Saylor's discussion emphasizes the importance of personal custodianship when it comes to holding Bitcoin securely.
Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to drop your comment and observations in the comment section below. Thanks and enjoy the video.
All analog property can be confiscated, seized, either by violence or by corruption. So analog properties encourage corruption, they encourage violence, either state-sanctioned violence or criminal violence, and they encourage politics and legal manipulation to steal your property or confiscate it one way or the other. And that's been the case for all of human history. So to the extent that you convert property into a digital form, and that digital form can manifest itself on a hardware wallet or a seed phrase plate or in your head, however it's manifested, you now have the ability to destroy the property by destroying the information.
Yeah.
Which you can't do with analog property. If you own a vault of gold, in fact, you can't destroy it. So if you owned a building or a company or even a bunch of bonds, to give you a claim on a government, you can't destroy them by destroying the information. Eventually, a custodian or a government can reclaim them. So in that sense, the human doesn't really have the power over their own property. They don't have that property right. They have a conditional property right based upon their political standing or their physical strength.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin gives the human being an unconditional property right because the power to destroy something is the ownership of the something. It's a line from Dune, by the way, if you remember Frank Herbert, where they talk about the spice, and they say the power to destroy the spice is power over the spice. In this case, the power to destroy the property means you have an unfettered right to the property. The power to transport or convey the property is another right. All these other properties, you don't have the right to convey, and you don't have the right. You don't have the power to convey or the power to destroy. So I think Bitcoin is a breakthrough in those two ways. The third way it's a breakthrough is it's immortal property. You can, in theory, accumulate a massive amount of property and find a way to convey it 10,000 years into the future. You can't do that with even a pyramid. You can't do it with a building. You can't do it with any stock or bond or piece of land. But you can entrust the Bitcoin to an AI program, put it on a satellite, maybe time lock it.
Yeah.
And it'll still be there. So I think the implication of that is that in a world of digital property, there's a disincentive to violence and a disincentive to corruption for lots of reasons. There's always an incentive to negotiation because you're negotiating to get some instead of none.
Yeah.
If you don't know how much someone has, then that shifts the balance of power in favor of the property owner.
Yeah.
If you did know if I knew you had 100 Bitcoin and I had a gun to your head, we still end up with a game theory that suggests I'll get half, but not all. Because if I pull the trigger, I get none.
Yeah. So the game theory is 50%.
If we split it 50-50,
yeah,
you might well give me half or give me a fraction.
Yeah.
If I'm not using a gun, but I'm just threatening a lawsuit, maybe I'll just take the 10%.
Same thing.
Now, you can shift the balance of power on that, because if I have a gun to your head, but you have the ability to transfer the Bitcoin telepathically, or you have a little device, a kill switch in your hand, and you can punch the button and transfer it to someone else, time lock it. It's like, okay, can I pull the trigger before you push the black switch? In that case, maybe I'd only just take 10%.
Yeah. So,
right? So I think that there's technology that can be constructed that at this point will shift the balance of power away from the authoritarian with the physical power and put it in the hands of the person with the digital power.
According to Saylor, the nature of the custodian is crucial when it comes to storing assets, particularly in relation to its location and the privileges it offers customers. For instance, Coinbase is designated as the Bitcoin custodian for the proposed BlackRock ETF. Coincidentally, BlackRock and Coinbase have an existing strategic partnership, announced last year, which connects BlackRock's institutional investment platform, Aladdin, to Coinbase Prime for crypto trading and custody. In the video, Saylor delves further into the topic, sharing additional insights about custodianship.
I don't think there's any black and white here. I think that an individual could decide to be their own custodian or could engage in multi-sig. A family could decide to be their own custodian or engage in multi-sig. A small company, a big company, a city, a state, a country, they could all make different decisions. And the decision is, how will they custody their assets? And the answer is, you don't really want the mayor of your city to have all your money.
No.
And then leave. Like, does the mayor get to keep all the money when they get unelected? Like, would you be more comfortable? I mean, the point really is, no. And now, do you want to live in a city that doesn't own any Bitcoin? No. Let's say you live in a country, they don't own any Bitcoin, but they have all their wealth and gold. And then the people living across the border decide to come and murder you all to take your gold. Were you better off that the country didn't own Bitcoin and they had gold, and that way you didn't have this issue? I mean, the truth of the matter is you're better off to live in a country that has all their money in Bitcoin so that your enemy doesn't cross the border and murder you.
Yeah.
So when the country owns the Bitcoin, how will they custody the Bitcoin? Well, when you actually implement multi-sig with 7 guardians, that's called a bank, a national bank. And now you'll have this political process of who are the 7 guardians you trust.
Yeah. And what jurisdictions are they in?
But families have politics, right? You have a distributed family and there's 5 brothers and the question is, which of the 5 brothers get to control the family money? If you don't have any money, you're lucky you don't have a problem. But when you actually inherit a lot of money from dad and there's 5 brothers, are 3 of the 5 brothers the ones with keys, or all? What if one of them's an alcoholic drug addict? Does that guy get the keys?
I would vouch for the older brother since I'm the older brother.
Everybody ends up having to deal with the issue, and I don't think there's one simple answer, which is why I don't preach one answer, because the answer is different for a city, than a company, than a family, than an individual.
Yeah.
Okay, like you're engaged to the woman. Do you share the keys? You're married to the woman. Do you share the keys? You have 16 kids. Which of your kids get the keys? How long do you have to be married before you share the keys?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so these are all interesting questions, and there's no answer. I don't opine on it. What I think is digital property is good, and digital property is better than physical property, and Bitcoin solves half the problems in the world, but not the other half. Right? The other half are still there. You have to, Bitcoin won't solve the problem of how you have a happy marriage, or how, or politics, or how you deal with issues with your kids in school that teaches them stuff you don't want them to learn. All that stuff you still have to struggle with. What Bitcoin does is it disincentivizes physical violence and physical power in order to seize and confiscate physical assets. And it incentivizes cooperation, and it allows you to construct elegant and beautiful structures in cyberspace that will be valuable to the human race.
Bitcoin experienced a significant price surge on Monday, driven by continued support from financial institutions. Its value rose over 5% to reach $28,848, marking its highest level since early May. Ethereum, another popular cryptocurrency, also saw a gain of 3.5%, trading at $1,813. This positive market sentiment follows the news of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, filing an application for a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund in the United States. However, while the market remains optimistic, there is uncertainty regarding whether the ETF deal will be approved. The recent developments have contributed to the fading of reputational risks associated with conducting crypto-related businesses. Some investors have been hesitant to buy Bitcoin due to concerns about the industry's reputation. However, with established financial players like BlackRock and Fidelity openly showing their enthusiasm for cryptocurrencies, investors are becoming more optimistic. Additionally, a new crypto exchange backed by Charles Schwab, Fidelity Digital Assets, and Citadel Securities has entered the market, offering Bitcoin and Ethereum trading, further boosting market confidence. Bitcoin's performance this quarter has been characterized by struggles to break out of a narrow trading range. However, it has managed to maintain its value above $25,000, without experiencing significant declines. The monthly gains for Bitcoin have now turned positive, with a 69% increase so far this year. Although the possibility of the Bitcoin ETF being approved remains uncertain, the market sentiment remains upbeat. Share your thoughts and comments on this video and the recent market developments. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.